Liverpool Fan in Japan.
Hello YouTube, Liverpool Fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki man Sai. I'm going to do this one standing up today because I've been sitting on my bum too long. So speaking of sitting down, my personal reclining sofa arrives tomorrow. Yes, get in, up the shiny one. Alrighty, let's get to the topic of today. I reckon at least two of Darwin Nunez, Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz will leave in the summer. This current Liverpool team is not actually slot board, a slot machine in its full efficiency, and I'll tell you why. We're missing two key ingredients, the two key components that Arne's slot team usually has, but he's done the best he can evaluating the players inherited from Jurgen Klopp's squad who were competing for a quadruple last season. He's kept them immaculately fit, and they've got us into a prime position, top of the table, still with points and a superior goal difference ahead of Arsenal. So never fear. Look, Miyazaki Man's here to show you the way. Liverpool Fan in Japan channel is growing constantly, and I thank all of you guys for supporting the channel all year long. And as you know, I'm building the best transfer database for the casuals that ever existed through Salesforce, and I'll be doing the striker lookup. Which strikers should we be getting? What type of strikers should we be getting? And why one or two names in the media is absolutely discounted as never a legitimate Liverpool option, despite many fans wanting this type of striker. I'll be doing that striker transfer database video coming up very soon for you guys. But look, going back to our strike force at the moment, we still have 6 forward players, 7 if you count Harvey Elliott, who's a pseudo right winger as well, for 3 positions. Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo on the left. Cody Gakpo is probably first choice now. Darwin Nunez, Jota and Luis Diaz as the 9 options, and Mo Salah and Chiesa. Oh, bless Chiesa. His time will come. On the right wing with Elliott there as well. Now, I know that there's a lot of vitriol and a lot of hatred and a lot of toxic fumes and flames for Darwin Nunez at the moment. He missed a glorious chance to win us the game against Aston Villa. But look, there's still time to play as well. You never know what will happen. In hindsight, you can always guess the what ifs. And it doesn't help that Robbie Fowler, a.k.a. God, is jumping on the bandwagon to say he's got no striking instincts, hasn't got the common sense, hasn't got the natural finishing of a striker. Look, Darwin Nunez's pace got him in that opportunity, got him in there in the first place, as did his retrieval of the ball to go 1v1 with ball. Martinez absolutely cleaned him out, and Martinez was there in a flash, right? Those pictures are deceptive. Nunez never really had the opportunity to get out of his feet. He could try to shuffle it across, he could try to dink it across, but he never really saw Salah because he was completely, on the charge to get to the end of that ball. And as Slot intimated, 1 moment of doubt, 1 moment of hesitation, 1 moment of over passion, too much passion, over passion, passion fruit, could have been the decisive moment that made sure he didn't get it in time before Emi Martinez. So Darwin Nunez misses the opportunities, misses a chance. But look, I know a lot of you want him out the window. And look, he may very well be out in the summer window. 2 will go, and I'll give you my thoughts on which 2, and 1 which will likely remain as well. But there's a few things you've got to remember. Consistency, especially game fitness and game match fitness, is crucial. Joe Gomez is a fantastic example. If you don't play game to game, your form looks iffy. Not many players at Wataru Endo have the mentality and have the composure, and it's easier to defend than to attack, as Arne Slot intimated, can come in out of the blue, right, and build that relationship, get that match fitness, get that sharp, incisive edge, especially when scoring the goals. Darwin Nunez has been a bit part player, 3rd choice, possibly the best 3rd choice striker in world football, for good and for worse. The good is, tell me which 3rd choice striker is better than Darwin Nunez. But the bad side is, he cost a hell of a lot of money. He's on a high wage, and probably better use of that resource can be utilised by Liverpool and leveraged by Liverpool in this current Liverpool team under Arne Slot, right? It's a shame. However, you've still got to support him and back him up until the end of the season, because he will be a vital player. He's absolutely vital for the fact that every player that has any minutes, 1 minute or 90 minutes plus, on the pitch is vital for Liverpool's success this season. He's constantly available and constantly fit as well. The shiny one has been utilising him, has shown his faith in him, and is working with him one-to-one and personally as well. Have faith in Arne Slot to utilise Nunez to help us bring home the bacon. Look, he scored twice against Brentford, against the Bees, right? And everyone was loving him. Everyone was like, Nunez, Darwin, agent of chaos, moniker, and all that. I understand the vitriol and hatred against him. I completely understand it. But I also understand he's a weapon and an asset for Arne Slot to utilize until the end of the season. There's no point demoralizing him. He's obviously affected by social media. He's obviously affected by the trolls and the toxic comments, right? He even had to come up with his own retort online as well. Deleted the first tweet and showed the second one. Was it on Instagram? I can't remember. So, if you want Liverpool to win things and achieve things this season, you back him. You may have your hatred and discussions offline or with the fans, right? But in the stadium, they're still chanting Nunez, still chanting his name. Back him, support him, get his confidence up, because he is a key to your happiness as well. If he scores, if he's a match winner, if he plays well, if Liverpool play well, then we're all happy. That's what we want. We want to win the league, right? None of you have so much inner turmoil and chaos that you would rather see him do bad and Liverpool not succeed, right? Just for your pure hatred of him. He's a Liverpool player and he's giving it all and he's giving his effort. As long as he continues to give his effort and he's always available and plugging away and trying his best, you support him. He may leave in the summer and then you wish him well and off you go. Enjoy the good memories and enjoy our Premier League and Champions League. Double or treble, hopefully, okay? So that's all I want to say about Darwin Nunez for now. Prime candidate to leave, and out of the three, I wouldn't say most likely to leave, but probably one or two most likely to leave, and I'll give my final conclusions at the end of the video. Also, if you want to check out my preview for the Manchester City match, I did that in the previous video. For some reason, that video absolutely tanked, only on 1,000 views. So make sure to watch that after this one. I'll link at the end of the channel. Do me a lot of good and do a lot of good for my motivation and morale as well, making more videos, okay? I'll work on that striker transfer database and the algorithms in my own time, while you rack up the views on that one. Hopefully like the video, this video as well, helps the channel get seen, and all your interactions, very much appreciated. I reply personally, okay? So now we move on to Luis Diaz. So Luis Diaz has been chosen as the number 9 ahead of Darwin Nunez on many occasions, especially in the recent period. But Diogo Jota has been coming out from injury, and that could have played a big part in it as well, right? Because Nunez historically partners very, very well with Mo Salah. Mo Salah said it himself. He enjoys the off-the-ball runs. He enjoys the added space. And Mo Salah gets more goals and involved in more contributions when Darwin Nunez is on the pitch. Nunez also assists Salah more than any other player. Look that up. Let me know in the comments below. Am I right? So there's that going for him as well. Okay. But Luis Diaz, I don't think connects well with Cody Gakpo. And he's not the biggest assist maker. In fact, his assist and creativity is probably the weakest aspect. He used to be dynamite on the dribble, but ever since that big injury, he's not dynamite on the dribble. He's got skills and footwork and techers, right? But he doesn't really use them in the offensive transition to get in amongst goal. He uses them to escape danger and rotate the ball and play. Now, I'm much more of a fan of Cody Gakpo's direct style, because on the lateral run, you can't stop him, and you can't stop his shooting ability because of his shooting power and accuracy is immense, a constant threat, a bigger goal threat. But Luis Diaz has scored lots of goals, and he's a hot and cold player in spurts, peaks and troughs. On form, he scores a lot. Off form, he won't hit Barndo or Banjo for ages. But at least Arne Slot knows that his shooting is probably the weakest of the forward line, and I'd even put Chiesa ahead of Luis Diaz's shooting ability, because he's got a right foot curler. He hasn't got a rifle, he hasn't got a rocket shot, and he hasn't really got a place shot. He gets in amongst the goals. He's got a curler to the back post. Other than that, he lacks the striking instincts to have many shots and goals, right? He doesn't really get away many shots and goals. Luis Diaz, prime, 28 years old, former Barcelona target, probably suits La Liga, dreams of La Liga. His dad never shuts up about La Liga and Barcelona, for example. Liverpool proposed a contract in 2023, hasn't signed it yet. I think he's been offered it in 2024, an extension. He's one of the lowest earners. I'm 100% certain, if Luis Diaz does not sign a contract before the start of next season, he's gone. He's gone. He's an asset in his prime. If they want to amortize and maximize the value of this asset and this player, who would be in line to win a lot of things this season, and I'm guessing he would be rewarded appropriately, because Liverpool, I think third or fourth highest wage bill in Premier League, maybe even in Europe, 5th, 6th maybe, on the back that we incentivize our players. Firmino, Mane, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent would be on sky-high wages. You're talking at least over 150, 180, 200,000, right? So Luis Diaz will get what's coming to him in terms of contracts, but maybe he's holding out. If he doesn't renew, there's no way Liverpool are going to make a mistake and let him get into the final year of the contract, where the depreciation of his value means that the asset is not there. And that's what I want to say about people who wanted to dump Darwin Nunez in January, dump Luis Diaz in January. First of all, if the Saudi bid came through, right, they're notorious for holding out on the payment, direct payment into the coffers, into Liverpool banks and accounts until, the opportune time, which means you wouldn't have the money to reinvest in a striker. Also, late in the window, you wouldn't have the money to reinvest in a striker. Now, for everyone who says Omar Mamouche, we don't play a position that Omar Mamouche settles in, right? He's a shadow striker, an SS is a support striker, right? He's like your Francesco Totti, for example, your Paulo Dybala, for example, right? He hangs off the main striker. He's a perfect foil for Haaland because of the fact that Julian Alvarez, who I think is more suited to Premier League at that stage than Mamouche, wasn't replaced properly. He's doing good things in Atletico Madrid, but, you know, Mamouche came in, scored a hat-trick against Newcastle. Sure, people were, oh, we could have signed Mamouche. Get Liverpool out. Get FSG out. Why didn't we sell Nunez? It's nonsensical. Nunez knows the system. He's been trusted by Slot. We've got 6 players, 7 players if you count Elliott for 3 positions. The squad roster is full. You don't disrupt the forward line. The forward would have to get used to the pressing patterns, the training patterns, build relationships, get used to the pace of the Premier League. Slot wouldn't start them. Slot just wouldn't start any striker, right? You're going to have to look for a Premier League proven player who gets on well with the teammates, fits the style and system, plays the classic 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, right? You're looking at an Erling Haaland or an Isak or an Anthony Gordon or someone like that just comes in, you know, even Acuna or João Pedro couldn't come in and play from day one. Slot wouldn't play them because their system to play and the system would have to be adjusted. They are interesting prospects, by the way. We'll get into that in the striker database video. So if Luis Diaz doesn't sign a contract, he's 100% out, 100% out, and I'm more than certain it's going to be to La Liga in Spain. I don't think Serie A suits his game, and an off chance that PSG might show some interest, but they signed Kavica, Kvaratskhelia, so I highly doubt it, right? And they got players on the wings, Dembele, for example, Barcola, for example, so they probably don't need him as much. And that brings us nicely to Diogo Jota. Okay, Jota the Slaughter. Now, look at these statistics. Jota is underperforming. He's just not scoring the amount of goals you'd expect him to. The minutes per goal is still good, but he never plays. And he's a super weapon from the bench, super sub. The good thing about Jota compared to Nunez and especially Diaz is Jota can shoot off both feet, so unpredictable. He's got the silkworm dribble. Even though Luis Diaz is a fantastic dribbler, Jota dribbles himself into position to get the shot away 1,000,000 times more than Luis Diaz. He's got a phenomenal shot off both feet. Firepower galore. Premier League proven. Super sub capability. Never complains. A FIFA majestic pro dominating Trent and making him more moody than usual. Okay, Jota has so much upside, but his shot conversion rate is piss poor considering how good his shooting and finishing is highlighted to be. Even Diaz is higher, even though he doesn't shoot that much, which might explain it because Slot has been insistent that Diaz doesn't shoot from distance so much. It shows in the stats, okay? So, Jota gets away the most shots, which is very, very useful, but doesn't convert so many. But that's to be understood because Jota is a goal-scoring point of attack, and he gets a lot of shots, which means he may be missing more as well. Expected goals, he's on a minus differential, as is Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez is the worst by far, but you would have expected it because you know that Darwin Nunez, he fluffs the chances because he doesn't pick the right shot selection. Even though he's got the technique and shooting power and ability and can shoot off the left foot, Darwin Nunez doesn't convert as much as you'd like, and it was critical in Klopp's season. And was probably one of the contributors to Klopp not achieving everything in the final few seasons with Darwin Nunez there. You know, unfortunately, it's just a fact. I love Nunez as a player and what he adds as an option. But if he had converted some of those clear-cut chances, you know, a moment in time, if you find the right shot, the right moment, an inch or two higher or lower or wider or whatever, and they go in, you know, fate would have conspired to have different results. But here, we are where we are, top of the table, ka-ching, and top of the Champions League, even though we get PSG or Benfica next. Both not easy ties, but Liverpool can do them both, especially two-legged tie. Anfield is a difference maker. Roared Anfield, LA, conquered all of Europe kind of thing, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think Nunez will have the biggest role to play in the Arne Slot system, but he is the best third-choice striker in the world, but he is too expensive in terms of the resources can be reutilized. But if you're saying that, you have to maximize the sale. You can't just toss him out. You have to get his true net value to give the transfer key to Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes and Arne Slot to utilize to reinvest in the squad. So it's not as though you can just dump a player out, because remember, right? And everyone who wants to say, dump him out in January, why didn't we play, you know, get the striker in January, get rid of our players, doesn't matter about registration or squad places or whatever. And I have seen a few of those comments lately, but come on, the world doesn't work that way. You have to have a buying club, right? They'll pay the money that gets into Liverpool Darwin Nunez has to accept the contract, has to accept scrapping his current contract, has to sign with him, has to do a medical. The agent has to agree. You have to agree the agent fee as well. Liverpool would need a replacement because by hook or by crook, and whether you like it or not, he's still utilised by Arne Slot, which means he's in the tactical thoughts and plannings of the current manager, the shiny one, right? He's already built the relationships. He's popular behind the scenes. He's a crazy ass Uruguayan behind the scenes as well. And everyone's like, oh, Darwin, oh, it's a bloody Darwin again, you know, like Jonesy says, or Trent says, or even Salah, you know, he's acclimatized and he's in that group as well. Okay, so it's not just you can dump them. And at the same time, you have to agree the transfer fee for the would-be striker that comes in as a replacement. You have to agree to relocate his family, to get him used to the Premier League. He has to agree to the move. The club has to agree to the move. Everything has to be signed, sealed, and delivered. And you have to bring them in. It's not as easy as dumping X, Y, and Z or forcing play. Even in Football Manager, you can't force a player to leave and you can't force a player to sign. Even in Football Manager, you can't force it through. With all your cheats and hacks and unlimited budget works or whatever. You can't force them. It doesn't work that way. So grow up a little bit and stop living in cuckoo land, as Roy Keane would say, la la land, and realize that Liverpool and everyone working for Liverpool is doing their best they can for Liverpool now and in the future. And if we didn't sign an emergency striker, the money's still there. Now, you might be saying that FSG are hesitant to spend. FSG are no longer decision makers. Michael Edwards is the head of global football in charge of Liverpool. It's up to Michael Edwards to sign off on any budget signings. And we have that money there. So if there's a player that Arne Slot really wants, if it is an Isak, for example, if it costs 130, 140 million, if you take 25 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million out of the equation, right, that might downgrade an Isak to a much lesser player, right? You want to be in a conversation, right? Then leave it to decision makers and see what happens. At the same time, the Villa result, in hindsight, right, we should have won with our points on the board. And I am digressing just a little bit, but it's an important point to get across. We were 2-1 down. We were 2-1 down at Villa Park, at Aston Villa. We came back. We've still not been more than 1 goal behind all season. We should have won. We very well could have lost. Trent single-handedly clawed us back from the brink and played an immaculate game, even though he was attacked, to get us back in there, right? We could have lost. 2-1 down. We have no entitlement to do anything. 1-0 up, 2-1 down. But we did it to come back and we earned a point. And Villa ended stronger, so we still could have lost 3-2. So get some perspective. It's still a point more than we had before. Many games to play. And you do the tallies on the remaining games and fixtures. Arsenal are still more likely to drop points in any given game than we are. Now, how that Villa point will be reflected, how that Everton point will be reflected, may come at the end of this Manchester City and Newcastle run. Make sure you watch the video at the end. I've done the pre-match analysis and lineup as well. But judge Liverpool at the end of the season. We're still in pole position. Arsenal and every other team are trade positions with Liverpool right now. So don't have some entitlement and don't be a bitter. Understand and back the boys and support them to the end of the season. Now, we're going back to Jota now, okay? Can choose any shot type. Links up well. He's a playmaker between lines. Underestimated in the air. But he's seems to be a Spurs player as well. Not a Spurs player. Spursy, nah. Not Richarlison, the pecking chicken. He's a Spurs player. He scores consistently when he gets a good run of games. But that's the same as Darwin Nunez. But he's not afforded a good run of games because of his injury and his body's letting him down. Now, he was a starting choice number 9 for his game intelligence and his shooting prowess. But he doesn't score as often as you'd think, right? And there are games where he's anonymous. Out of the 3, right, Jota and Luis Diaz can go for a wonder and be anonymous more than Darwin Nunez, for the fact that Nunez, believe it or not, is the best presser and the best at tracking back and tackling and heading out from your own box, and on the counter-attack has the most pace. Now, it might not come to anything, but it's still a quantity that you quantify as part of the team as a unit. You add to the pressing game, you add to the positional game, you add to the options available to hit the ball behind the lines, right? It's a team game. We lost as a team. Don't isolate Darwin Nunez again. Why aren't people after the other strikers? Why didn't Mo Salah score more? Why didn't Jota score one of his 4 or 5 chances, hitting the bar and didn't convert? Rashford, redemption arc, he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything in that game. Trent, who was apparently an awful defender, played him off the park. He really, really did. He defended him so well. He always defends Rashford really, really well, right? Donyell Malen, who's incredibly limited as a player, had more effect than Rashford in a little bit of time. Ollie Watkins was anonymous that game, apart from a quality header. But that's what strikers do, and that's what you want, right? So Very, very interesting that there's this vitriol and hatred towards Darwin Nunez. But look, it may not be for so long. Jota could be sold if the right bid comes and Arne Slot doesn't want to rely on him anymore. Jota would definitely not be the starting 9 because he's not shown enough run of games to be gifted with that role. I don't think Liverpool have the striker that Arne Slot needs at the moment. And the number 10, the attacking midfielder, Szoboszlai, has done a fantastic job and he's reinvented that position. And I will do a video on how Szoboszlai's reinvented that position with Arne Slot and Shortcuff as well. But Slot doesn't have the slot player, the slotty player, the slutty player, the shiny player, leading the shiny era, right? Behind the striker. And I'm going to go into a deep tactical analysis first in the member section, right? Because all you fans supporting the Liverpool Fan in Japan membership channel through the membership, you're keeping the channel alive, because without that, it's hard to justify to get the time away from the kids, even though, I love doing it. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really, domono gato gozaimasu. Thank you so much. But I will do that tactical analysis first in the member section before doing a follow-up video in public, maybe towards the end of the season as well. So we're missing 2 players for ideal slot machine system. But Jota, it depends on his reliability, right? It depends if Lucho Diaz signs a new contract. Possibility that all 3 go. I doubt it, because transition, to change that much of your attack, especially with Mo Salah's contract situation not renewed, although I think he has been renewed and Van Dijk has been renewed, but they're keeping on a hush-hush until we really need a momentum booster, because the media really likes to kick Liverpool down. But if you sign a new contract, it immediately switches the narrative and Liverpool know what they're doing, blah, 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 all that kind of things, yeah? So, I think it's dependent on when Trent signs a contract, or if we need a boost in the media in terms of reputation imagery come the end of season, crunch time. Sign a new contract, off we go. Come on, lead the club to glory, etc. Because there's no better place for Salah to smash all the records. The system's built for him and he loves it at Liverpool. He's the leader, and there's a new coffee bar. That coffee bar is crucial in negotiations, indispensable, especially the barista doing his coffee, right? They get on so well. Similarly, I think Van Dijk signs because he's the captain of the club, he's the captain of the national team, and he's relied on and trusted by Slot, and there's no better play for him, and he obviously loves Liverpool as well. Trent, 50-50. We'll see what happens there. Quality player, by the way, Trent. Clear flaws, clear weaknesses. But digressing again, I think Nunez leaves because he just doesn't feel the love of the fans, the support, and he's going to really need consistent game time week in, week out to hit his potential and at least hit his consistency in clinical finishing. He had an anomaly season at Benfica, which forced us to sign him. Klopp has tended to sign players who played outstanding in games against us, like Lucho Diaz in, we saw him up close, Champions League. We saw Taki Minamino up close, Champions League, scored against us for Salzburg. We saw Nunez scoring, placing well past Alisson Becker for Benfica as well. He had dynamic hair at that time. I think Nunez leaves. I think Lucho Diaz doesn't re-sign. And there's a clear difference, by the way, between resigning and re-signing, because I've seen many resigns in the comments as well. We don't want any player to resign. Not even Jay Spearing, the wee man. I think Lucho Diaz leaves because he won't sign a contract. And I think Jota stays. And the biggest reason, right? There's 2 reasons. One that people know, and one that people never talk about. The reason he stays is because he's a super sub. Doesn't complain about coming off the bench. Always happy to make an impact. Unpredictable. Can shoot off both sides. Can win it in the air as well. Loves Liverpool. Gets on well behind the scenes. He's got his own song. That's not the point. And he's happy to be a bit part player, and he's such an essential bit part player that can slot into the first team lineup on occasion as well. And he can play all across the front line and a secondary playmaker between the lines. But another reason that Jota stays above Nunez and Lucho Diaz, he speaks English. That's been a big, big downfall. You've seen the recent interviews with whatever Lucho Diaz or Nunez were trying to communicate. Jota speaks clear English. Has a good game brain about him, and always going to be a useful asset. Communication on the pitch, off the pitch, essential, especially in the pressing, right? In the pressing. That English factor is not to be underestimated. Darwin Nunez just isn't there yet. And unless you've got the game intelligence of Bobby Firmino, where you talk with your dazzling teeth. No, I mean his feet. He's got the tech as well. I love Firmino. Lucho Diaz and Nunez's English isn't up to par. And I think they will be moved on this summer, which means waiting for an exciting summer because the attack will be revamped. When's the last time we made the super marquee signing? It was Darwin Nunez. With that, smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Lots of quality content coming up. I'm standing. Let me know. Do you like it better when I stand or when I sit down? I am repping the shiny shirt up, the shiny one. Shirts available, all sizes as well. If you want to support the channel, grab a up the shiny one slot shirt. Have a great day, everyone. Let's smash Manchester City. Then the mood will do 360 and everyone will be smiling ear to ear like a Cheshire cat. Until next time, Miyazaki man, Ichiban. Jane means ciao.